Welcome back, everyone. We are here with Kai. Sorry, I messed it up. I clarified at the beginning. I messed it up immediately. Kai Millette of the Owl Chat podcast. Talk a little bit about the game Panthers have at Kennesaw State this Saturday. Thanks for joining us, Kai. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. We do something similar, so always for joining things like this. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, it's fun to get a chance. That's something we've tried to do with most opponents this season, at least during football. A little bit more difficult during basketball, but we like to talk to the opposing fan base podcast and kind of get their feel for everything. It's way better than talking to like beat writers or actual like school admin or coaches and stuff. But coaches are fun, but yeah, this is more fun for us. So something that's interesting to me is I went back to Georgia State's page today preparing for this to look and see like when the last time we played and what the overall record was. And Georgia State's website does not have us ever having played Kennesaw State, and then in basketball, and then so I went back to their media guide. Yeah, it's happened 3 times. I think probably before you were born, Kai, but I think before Ryan was born, back in the '80s, is the last time that Georgia State
pre-85. I'm at 85.
Okay, when they just started, they started because of you, and they stopped because of you. 86, 88, great. And 89. Nice. All three were Panther wins. All 3 were in Atlanta. So. I was just surprised. I know we haven't played you in a long time since I've been paying attention to the program, but it was shocking to me that we have not played. Apparently, there's been some secret scrimmages here and there over the years. But what's your is this a game you like to see regularly on the rotation?
I would love to see it, happen more often in every sport. It's a rivalry that I've selfishly wanted to, grow and exist, just because of the proximity. And, I think that Georgia State and Kennesaw State are kind of both attractive to the same type of high school student coming out, and that should create tension. So I would love to play you guys more often. Hopefully it starts happening more with the move up to Conference USA now that, the playing field's more level and, we can play each other in football without it being a bye game. And, basketball, that gap is going to be smaller between ASUN and Conference USA and Sun Belt, whatever. But still, it's an excuse to play more. I would love to see more of it in the future. Like I said, I've got friends and family who have attended GSU. So any rivalry or hatred is more of a, familial, friendly rivalry thing for me. So, it's all love.
Yeah, I feel like, especially freshmen, sophomores in college, the kids they went to high school with, a lot of them, if they went to Georgia State, if they're at Georgia State, a lot of their friends from high school went to Kennesaw State and vice versa there. So it is kind of a built-in, a little rivalry for how close the schools are when we are playing. It's an easy drive. There's no easy drive in Atlanta, but it's a drive.
75 is not that bad.
It's 20 minutes, no matter where you're going, right?
75 is not that bad.
Too bad. So it is kind of a built-in thing. I think it would definitely, at minimum, I think that the Olympic sports would benefit quite a bit from the Owls and the Panthers playing quite a bit. But the football thing, we'll have to see how that comes to play. You guys played us too tough there in that first game. We don't want to see that happen anymore. So.
I haven't really seen a lot of like rivalry talk, like kind of like smack talk. I haven't seen a lot of that going on like we have with maybe other programs in the state, if we can even call them that. But I'm referring to Trash Down South.
Yeah, what is guys? I'm going to interrupt you, Ryan, for a second.
Yeah,
what is the Kennesaw State take on? We call them the Trash Down South. We don't have enough respect for them to call them by what they call themselves.
College of Statesboro.
Yeah, the Statesboro School, post high school education.
So, of the Division I schools in the state of Georgia, the one I am the proudest to say I don't attend is Georgia Southern. So there you go.
Right there.
You can change it to trash though. Just Trash Down South. It's fine.
Yeah, and actually, you guys just schooled him in basketball just a couple of weeks ago. Big win over. I actually did you beat them greatly. I wouldn't call it a big win because they're, as of right now, they're 0-7. They just lost to Michigan State again. So
I think they're like one of 10 D1 teams currently still without a win.
And I was looking at their schedule, and they could easily go 0-11 this season with the opponents they have. So it couldn't happen to a better fan base. I'm excited about it. Brian, I probably just took exactly what you were asking, but do you want to finish your question?
I wasn't asking. I was just talking.
Okay, cool. Do you want to finish talking?
No, I'm good. You finished it for me. Thanks.
Tim, you got a question about the game? Tim, you got a question about the game this week or anything?
The game this week? I mean, obviously last year you guys had a fantastic record. 26-9, went to the NCAA tournament, had a really close game with Xavier. What do you think is going to happen with this year's edition of the Owls?
So I think that top to bottom, Kennesaw State has a top 3 most talented roster in conference this year again. Whether or not anything comes of it in 2023 to 2024, I don't know.
Mhm.
There have already been some obvious growing pains. I mean, the big thing for us was returning point guard Terrell Burden and big man forward Damon Robinson as fifth-year seniors. Those were two of our four best players last year, and they came back for their fifth season. But what we're running into now is the offense is no longer schemed up for him. So Damon Robinson, who I think was like 1 of 17 from 3 last year, is now putting up the ball 5 times a game from deep, and it's not working. It's really ugly. And then Terrell, who needs the ball in his hands, is playing more off the ball and has been a bit more of a spot up shooter. But I think part of that was his health was questionable the first couple of games of the year. So there's a lot of figuring out to do, and I am not confident in saying, how we're going to finish this year in conference or what it's going to look like. I wouldn't predict us as of right now to go back to the tournament or win it all again. I am optimistic about the future in general. I think we have the right guy as our head coach. I'm a big fan of Antoine Petway, and I see the vision. I see the type of players he's getting. We're going to be huge 2 through 4 and hopefully 1 through 5 going forward. So excited about the future, yes. This year, I'll say cautiously optimistic.
All right. What does that bode for our game on Saturday? What are you thinking? What's going to happen?
So I don't know a ton about State.
We don't either.
I know
We're
you guys are
brand new this year.
We don't either. Yeah.
right. I know you guys are
players
3-3. Obviously, I used to follow y'all quite a bit more during the Ron Hunter years and the more recent years because you guys were kind of carrying the torch for the state of Georgia in basketball.
Yep.
Tech's been abysmal. UGA is probably the biggest waste of resources in sports when it comes to their men's basketball program. Mercer had their run like 10 years ago, whatever, and until last year, Kennesaw State was terrible. It seems like maybe, please correct me if I'm wrong, maybe your head coaching hire luck has run out with this Jonas Hayes guy. I don't know a ton about him, but seems like it's a rebuild at best.
Yeah, he first year ever head coach last year. There's definitely growing pains when it comes to that. Complete roster. I mean, we had pretty much a new roster last year, and then a complete overhaul with the exception of 1 or 2 guys this year.
No, it's not. It's this year is all Jonas Hayes players.
Right. Oh, yes, right. But I'm saying, but Dwan Odom's back. So we actually do have.
Oh yeah, but it's just weird for a year 2 head coach to have a full roster that is their roster.
Right.
So
you only say 3 years.
Accelerated that a little bit.
You say it takes 3 years for a head coach to kind of get their players in place and everything, but he did it into. So we've seen we've looked better at times this year than last year, but then we still can't pull out the wins that we think we should, like the game at Charlotte last week. But ESPN's giving you guys like a 65% chance of beating us. So
we're the underdog.
We are
the underdog.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I think. One thing is also it being in Kennesaw. I think we are 16-1 over the last year and change now at home.
All right, so easy to beat. I like it.
Yeah, no, it's. I think it's going to be a really, really good college basketball atmosphere on Saturday because I'm sure GSU will bring their people up. The students are going to buy in. We've had great student turnout all year. It's going to be exciting. I would give us the edge because we're at home. But I'm not confident enough after our loss to FIU the other day to just go out and predict a win. But I would give us a slight edge, us being,
right.
KSU.
Yeah, basketball is crazy, Like you can have the best team on earth and you just have like a bad day for one player or something, and all of a sudden the whole thing just falls apart. It's nuts.
So you talk about the attendance a little bit. What is like the attendance like at Kennesaw State games? You guys drawing a big crowd out there? How many people are coming out to see the games?
So I went to every home game but one last year, and the one was Georgia College over Christmas break, and there were like 40 people there. But it was, I mean, traditionally it's terrible, until last year, nobody showed up ever, unless you go way back 10 years ago. And you've got the few years following the D2 national title, and there was still some buzz around the program. And then, we had like a legit rivalry with Mercer, and, their people would come in and our people would come in and we'd fill the place up. But the past decade or so, it had been pretty terrible until last year. And then it's like every game, as we keep winning and winning and winning, you see more and more people in the stands every night. And it was really cool. And it's like, for the longest time, we wouldn't open up our top level. There would be a tarp, there, and we could only fit like 1,800 people or so in there, and we couldn't fill that up. And then it's like, okay, well, one night we open up, one side of the top level, and then, we fill that up. And then the next night, we're playing Liberty, and we have 3,000 people show up, or 3,800 people show up, or whatever. Yeah, no, I agree. We were lucky enough to beat them twice at home.
Good.
But yeah, I think that was something we were all kind of questioning coming into this year, what the attendance would look like. And then it's like, opening night, we play Oakwood University, which is some NAIA school out in Alabama. And, you have a banner hanging ceremony and all that, which was kind of lame for what it was. But, understandably, you have some people show up. I think it was like 2,200 to 2,500, somewhere in that range, which was like top 10 ever for us. And then I was impressed the last time we played at home, which was against another NAIA opponent. And nobody was expecting anybody to show up, and we had 2,000 plus show up again. So that was really encouraging for us. But
what is the capacity? What is the capacity of the Convocation Center?
So this is a bit controversial, like all of our facilities. I think our posted record is well over 4,000. We had 4,000 people show up to a game against Mercer like 10 years ago.
We get it too, though, and they also the announce thing is like sold tickets or something, or handed out tickets, like, and so they play some games with that stuff.
Sure,
yeah. Because we got it too. The same thing. We have like sellout crowds, and we're like half the place is empty. What are you talking about a sellout?
Right. And then it's like last year, in the conference championship game against Liberty, with like 2 TV timeouts remaining, the SID, our SID, I won't drop his name because I want him to be nice to me, but he comes by the media table and gives us all like just a white sheet of paper, and it says Kennesaw State new attendance record 3,805, and I'm sitting right next to Jeff Schultz from The Athletic, right, because he decided to show up, and everybody there at the table falsely reports that we broke the attendance record. And then, 5 minutes later on Twitter, my partner, John, points out, he's like, yeah, this is not true at all. So
it's just information.
Right. I didn't see an empty seat there that day. So I couldn't tell you. It's somewhere between 3,800 and 4,500, probably closer to 38. So
the same thing that we had at the sports arena before the new place. So, so finishing out your last year at Atlantic Sun, are they do anything to keep you out of the conference tournament or anything this year, or you guys get to play through, not doing that kind of stuff?
No, they gave Liberty the shaft in baseball and just gave them the worst possible schedule last year.
Good. They deserve it.
Yeah. But
there's like one team that I would root for TDS against, and it's Liberty. So
hush your mouth now, Ryan.
No, I would. I'm sorry.
I didn't realize that we shared that hatred, because this is kind of a new thing for us, because they were 9-0 against us in basketball until last year, and
oh boy,
by the skin of our teeth twice. But you go back to the Big South days in football, and we were beating Malik Willis, with triple options. So we share that with you guys.
I've written one letter. I've written one letter to our president, and it was, "Do not let Liberty into the Sun Belt." Oh. It's the only thing I've ever sent to our president.
Did you say please?
Well, you have the power, Ryan. Why don't you send him something about Coach Elliott or?
I gave him a bunch of reasons. It was a manifesto about anti-Liberty nonsense, but yeah,
it clearly works. So good job.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
But yeah, no. To my knowledge, there's been no scheduling, unbalance or trying to keep us out of any conference tournament. If anything, there's like a little bit less just promotion and propaganda from the ASUN Twitter and Instagram accounts. But that's to be expected. We're leaving them behind in the dust. I don't think we really care. So
was that something that you guys saw really coming? Like there had been some rumors about Kennesaw State making the jump to Conference USA, but it seemed like even when it did come out, it was a shock to everyone. Like, oh wow, already they're doing it now.
Yeah, I mean, there were rumors for a few months before the announcement was made. I wasn't super in touch with it. My partner was definitely more on top of it, but didn't want to break anything, because if you break that and say that's going to happen, then it doesn't. It looks really bad. But as time progressed, it began to make more and more sense. I don't know if we had any knowledge of the rule change. I don't know if you guys heard, but the transition fee from FCS to FBS went from $5,000 to $5 million.
Yep.
And knowing the stinginess of our, athletic department at times, I don't know if we would have made that same commitment. So it kind of just felt like a now or never type of thing, especially with the current landscape of college football. And we did it, as a football move, because at the time the basketball program was still an afterthought.
Right.
So it was a football move because we had been one of the best teams in FCS football for 7 or 8 years at that point, and it's like, okay, well, if we want to
hear that from you guys too. My God.
I mean, hey, best winning percentage in FCS history. We're a tick above Harvard, so we leave with that. But yeah, it was like I said, as time progressed, it began to make more and more sense. We're still a little bit intimidated, especially after how this last football season went. Offense needs an entire overhaul. Facilities are questionable in every sport. But yeah, I don't know if it was that shocking. I think we're all glad we did it, but excited to see how it plays out over the next couple of years.
So like overall though, with CUSA, how are you feeling? Just like generally positives, negatives, neutral, whatever, just like your thoughts on the CUSA right now.
We're in.
So as a student, I couldn't be more excited to be able to walk 200 feet away from my apartment and go to a football game on a Wednesday night against, a Jacksonville State or a Liberty. Like, that's going to be awesome. I think TV money is huge. We're going to have games on ESPN, which is, not something we got, or CBS Sports Network. I think the TV deals with both of those networks. But so from a revenue standpoint, I think it's great. Like I said, it was definitely a football move. And with the current state of the football program, it's probably going to take a year or two to be really competitive. And that's something we're used to as KSU fans. We've only had 2 losing seasons ever. We're not used to not competing. So it's been a tough pill to swallow for us. But
you never get used to not competing. I can tell you from experience.
Yeah,
you never get used to it ever.
Right. It sucks, and it was so weird because this last year, all of our football fans, nobody knew what it was like to lose. Because we've only been around for a decade, and it's been a whole lot of winning. No national titles. We've had a couple deep, FCS playoff runs, but it's been all 9-win, 8-win, 10-win seasons. And then with basketball, it's like, well, nobody knew what it was like to win. So, we've got a high school last student section holding up, pictures of coaches with DUIs, and, we've got people wearing banana suits and stuff. So it was a very interesting contrast.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, looking at your football schedule from this past season, I didn't really pay much attention to it. You guys only played 8 games?
9 games.
9 games? What the hell's going on there?
Only 6 Division I opponents. So we basically got the boot from the ASUN in football.
Okay.
And by the time the decision was made, we didn't really have a schedule together. So we kind of had to, grab what we had. And it led to some very interesting discussions. We played 3 teams that weren't D1. We played Tusculum to open the season, and they're like a solid D2 program, which, I don't like playing those games, but that's not that weird for an FCS school to play a D2 program.
Sure.
Yeah, and then we played Lincoln University, which is a school out in Oakland that doesn't pay their head coach. Their head coach is their athletic director. They only play road games. Here? They don't have a uniform sponsor. They've won 2 games in their history.
They're like Bible college and basketball. Yeah, they all they got to do is pay them in pizzas, and they're good to go.
Practically, yeah. They flew. They didn't fly charter. They flew commercial. And then we played some like former seminary in Lynchburg, Virginia Lynchburg, and they had like 500 students.
Is that Liberty?
Yeah, no, it's like
Liberty Junior.
It's like we wanted Liberty in the athletic department. It was like, sorry, best we can do is Virginia University Lynchburg.
We have a little brother over here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like the Tusculum game. It was opening night, and there were fireworks, so people showed up. But the other 2, I mean, it was like we wanted to ignore that those games were happening. It was
your 3 wins though. You need all 3 of your wins.
So you guys were essentially independent for a season.
That is exactly. We were listed as an FCS independent, but we were ineligible for the FCS playoffs.
And did they boot you because you were moving up, or?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it was our call or the ASUN's call, because we're still in the ASUN and every other sport till I think June 2024. But I know ASUN football, with us leaving was down to like 5 teams. So I think they merged with the Western Athletic Conference. It's now the ASUN WAC. And I guess, we just weren't going to go along with that for the year.
Sure.
So
I was just wondering, because last week we touched on how tough it is to be an independent in FBS, FCS, whatever. Like if you don't have like a ton of money, or like the pedigree of a Notre Dame, Liberty got away with it because they got a ton of money.
Sure.
BYU gets away with it because they got a ton of money, and then they sort of have the pedigree, but not really.
They can pray about it too.
But like you got to have one or the other, or both.
Right. But like even those things changed. Liberty had to hop on into conference, and even BYU eventually caved. And is
that's right.
Joined the Big
Notre
12.
Dame is with the ACC having their partnership thing. I mean, they even had trouble with it.
Notre Dame just slaps around the ACC. And
sure,
uses them.
Sure.
Yeah. If I'm an ACC
you're on
fan,
downtime.
that
What do you want?
Yeah, 100%. I think eventually. Go ahead.
Yeah. You mentioned facilities as far as across the board earlier. Aren't y'all building some new football stadium or some new athletics complex or something like that on the other side of the highway?
Right?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different projects. There was like a $200 million fundraising campaign, and they just kind of revealed it. Not all the money has been raised yet, but they feel confident that it will be. And they've got a good chunk of it saved up, and that's going to go to a new football training facility, which was a really big need for us. Because previously, so our football stadium is off campus, right?
Right.
And to get from the training facility to the stadium, you got to get in your car and drive 2 miles down the road, right? Like everybody has to do that. No,
it doesn't work long term, right?
Yeah. And it was like, it was like an office building. From what I heard from Nick Parada, who works with us on the podcast, who's a former player, like it's nice, but it's real small. So that was a big point of emphasis. They're basically, they're not going to say they're building a new baseball stadium, but they're, doing some crazy renovations. I think they're finally going to like flatten out the field because it's not, perfectly level.
That's interesting.
So
unique, right?
Yeah. There have been no updates so far on any sort of changes to the Convocation Center where we play basketball. And it definitely does need touch-ups. I mean, like there are a few seats whose the chairs are just broken off, and we've got like these pads. I don't know if any of y'all are going to the game, but we've got these pads behind the baskets, and they're just like uneven and crooked, and it's like it's frustrating. It's like some of it's easy fixes.
And now's the time, strike while the iron's hot, while people are psyched about the program. And, before if you have a bad season, then the iron is not hot anymore. So go fundraise, we don't know how to do fundraising. So like, don't think this is like us telling y'all what to do or nothing. Like we're so bad at fundraising. But
if you guys accomplish it, then we're going to be pointing it. We're going to be pointing up the highway and be like, do what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing, but do that thing.
I was just going to say, send them down to our school for a hot second. Say, okay, here's what you do to raise money.
And they got to go to App State first before they can come to us, because we don't allow anybody. We don't hire anybody that hasn't spent at least some time at Appalachian State.
Well, you guys had so for football, you guys had PJ Volker from our staff, which we loved him while he was here, and I'm sure he did a good job. It was a linebackers coach here, I think. I'm pretty sure. And he did the same at Kennesaw. I'm pretty sure, right?
I believe so. I think it would have been a little before my time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So are they going to add any seating to the football stadium? I remember being at Fifth Third for Atlanta United match, and I got Loge tickets, which were great because it had your own beer line away from everyone else, and only the people in Loge got to get beer from there. But I got to imagine you could just take that away and add seats and add way more people.
Well, it's a great soccer venue, isn't it? I mean, that's what it looks like.
It is a nice soccer venue. Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah. So this is something that, we've been asked on our podcast over and over and over again is like, hey, any updates on the stadium? Are we going to expand? And recently we had Norman Radow, who's the guy who paid for the stadium to be built. Huge, real estate mogul, worth like $1 to $2 billion. And what he told us was, look, it's designed, and the plumbing and the structure everything is designed for it to expand to 222,000 when the time is right. Unfortunately, we can't fill it up as it is. I mean, we had to do all sorts of promotional things just to get 10,000 people in there for the opening game. And
we don't do that.
We don't do that either.
Promotional things. We don't know what that is.
We did a money drop.
Yeah, 10 years ago, before Kennesaw State had football.
One time we did it. Well, we might have done it twice. I think.
Maybe twice.
So what kind of promotions do you do to get?
So I mean,
games?
easy stuff like fireworks and
Nice.
T-shirt giveaways, whatever. That's always a way to
Yeah.
get a college student into the stadium. No, but we do this thing every year where like the entire freshman class can run out onto the field, at halftime of the first game.
That's cool.
And so they filled up the entire back, new student band section, whatever they want to call it.
Mhm.
And that was probably 2,000 people, which was a fifth of the people that showed up. And by the third quarter, most of them are gone. So that number is a little flubbed. But also, like, it was tough this year to actually get people to come to the games when you're like, if you look into it, like, it was a meaningless season. There's no postseason
Sure.
potential. 3 of the teams we're playing aren't D1. So it was discouraging, but I think the department actually did a really good job of, finding reasons to get people into the stands this year. So yeah,
I know
but
one
it's
game that'll be absolutely packed next year
yeah, which is
when you play our friends from the swamp.
Louisiana Lafayette.
Yeah,
We just call them Lafayette around
or
here.
just Lafayette.
Is there not another school that just goes by Lafayette?
No. Oh yeah,
No.
there's I think it's a HBCU or a smaller. It's an FCS program or something like
Gotcha.
that.
Is it in
It's
Lafayette, Louisiana?
No, it's at Kennesaw. They're gonna come out to.
They scheduled a home and
no.
home. So
I'm saying the school that we're talking about.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, in Louisiana.
It's
Lafayette.
in the same town.
I don't know where it is. I couldn't tell you where it is.
All
I
right,
don't know.
you know what?
It's in Lafayette,
I
Louisiana.
promise I was part of this conversation. You guys are weirdly
It's in
wrong.
Lafayette.
Yeah.
I
No,
can't
yeah, we,
imagine there's a Lafayette, Washington. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if you talk to anybody from their podcast, the Raging Review, tell them that they're a bunch of D holes.
Wait. Lafayette's an American hero. All right, there's probably Lafayette's all over the place.
I was talking about yeah. I'm kidding about Raging Review. They've actually been all right. Jerry's all right. Jerry's all right. We like Jerry.
Jerry's nice.
The one,
Yeah.
the one fan.
Yeah. So you guys start the season at San Antonio next to UTSA, then you host Lafayette all the way out to San Jose State. You guys putting
Short
in some
flight.
mileage, some frequent flyer miles in this first season.
And San
Yeah.
Antonio has been playing super well as of the last couple years here, and that's a big game.
We got like
Mhm.
American Sun Belt, Mountain West.
Yeah.
I
Mountain
don't know
West.
what San Jose is.
They'll probably be part of the Pac 2.4 or whatever it's going to be.
2.68. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pac 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's pretty
So
a brutal schedule right there.
me
Mhm.
just being like a mid-major sports or mid-major college sports fan, I like seeing the matchups. I like that we play San Jose State. Like, that's random as hell. Sign me up. That being said, we've talked about this on our podcast. Like, these aren't bye games. I don't understand the benefit of us being in our transition phase still next year, flying all the way out to San Jose State, a team that's been pretty good over the last couple of years. I don't know how they ended up doing this year, but I know that program had like a pretty dramatic turnaround over the last half decade or so.
We're 0-1 against them, so
Yeah,
Was
they
that
beat us in our first bowl
Cure
game.
Bowl? Cure Bowl?
Cure
it was
Bowl.
our first
Yeah.
bowl game. Yeah,
2017, 2016. I think I remember watching that game.
Weren't they a 5-win team?
They were 5-17.
Yeah,
They got in because we needed an opponent, so they let them in and they beat us.
shush, Tim, shush.
That was a fun experience, though. So
It was a
speaking of
great
bowl
experience.
games, are you guys gonna be a bunch? So if you guys come out next season and you're kicking ass, are gonna be a bunch of whiny bitches like JMU fans?
God, I hope not. I mean, like we knew what we signed up for. Apparently, JMU didn't. You make an agreement, you stick to it.
Thank you.
I didn't get it. I mean, like, it was cool to see JMU start 9-0. I guess y'all aren't the biggest fans of the JMU crowd, but it was like
I think the purple's nice.
Yeah,
that's
Ryan's in love with purple because he's colorblind or something.
They're
No,
so
you
nice.
guys are-
They're all
I
Fans
really-
are-
I
fans
really
are
am
jackasses.
I am hoping
They're nice.
that in the offseason, the NCAA does change that rule and does allow transition teams to be bowl eligible and play for conference titles just to piss off the JMU fan. But we call him I call him Jimmy Madison, just to piss them off. So that would just, and then you guys can be good and you can get that spot and just rub it in their face. Maybe you can get them in a bowl game and beat them. That'd be great.
that'd be sweet.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we'll let you get out of here. You asked if we were coming to the game. I think that Ryan and I are both going to make an effort to come up to the game. Tim has
Hello, mushroom. What?
Ryan really
He
wants to
knows,
go to
Kai
Mellow Mushroom
knows.
because apparently it's
I
the
work
only
at one.
in Georgia now. or
See,
something. I don't know.
see.
I've worked the 2 mellow mushrooms. I'm completely serious. I was there an hour ago. I got off
See,
at 8.
you have
I
the hair.
gotta be on the call, so
They think
please let me go
they
early.
think I'm joking about the mellow mushroom on
No.
Kennesaw State's campus, and I'm like, no, that's the spot. That's where we're gonna
You
go.
have the
So,
hair of a guy that works at Mellow Mushroom.
That's
Like you
true.
look like every guy I've ever seen work at Mellow Mushroom. So
I have been told this more than a few times. Ryan, I hate to say this to you, but I wouldn't say it's on our campus because I worked at that Mellow for 5 months, and that's a 10-minute walk.
Oh, 10 minutes. That's
I mean,
crazy.
it's real close, but on
crazy,
campus,
crazy.
yeah, it
Yeah,
depends
well,
what you consider campus.
If that's all I
You're-
was wrong about with everything I just said, then I'll take it.
you're talking to people went to school downtown where you have 5 minutes between classes and every building is 10-15-minute walk away. So
Exactly.
I
It's like
do
a
forget.
sprint.
I do forget that you guys understand the struggle probably to a greater extent of having that spread out campus type of experience. So
having to deal with traffic and cars and buses and all that kind of crap, and then
Well, and yeah, it's not like a self-contained campus either. There's all kinds of other traffic going on. There's the Woodruff Park with all the homeless folks and chess players and business people and all that
Protesters.
stuff. Like it's not just
Yeah.
Georgia State. It's we're all like intermingling.
downtown, man.
There's a hospital
Right.
next door that has ambulances that drive through.
Oh yeah, we don't
Yeah.
do that no more.
I'll
I used to go
tell
to
y'all.
McDonald's, but
Yeah, I'll tell y'all a funny story. Happened like a week or two ago. I'm at a concert at the Masquerade, right? Which is, practically on campus, right?
Yeah,
And I'm going with my buddy and his girlfriend, and they're both from North Carolina. And she's telling me like, "Oh, I've seen it all. I'm from Winston-Salem." I'm like, "You have not seen it all. Welcome to Atlanta." And she got a little scared walking through downtown. So
it's stay on the beaten path and you're good to go. So it's not too bad, especially concerts and stuff like that. Stay with the crowds, no problem. No problem. So I've not been to Masquerade since they opened up down there. Not that
I haven't either.
went.
I've only done the old one. Not
And it
this
was a
thing.
long time ago for that. So, are you gonna be at the game? We'll see you at the game on Saturday.
I will be at the media table. If you spot my hair, just say hi. So
Cool.
I'll be walking
Will
right
do.
up on the concourse too. So yeah.
All right, man.
Excellent. Well, we look forward to seeing you there, man. And outside this game, good luck to the rest of the season. So, thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers, man.
Yep.
Thanks,
Take it
guys.
easy.